Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and I thought, why not, let's go ahead and do a damage test on Kadaj. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised here. He's able to put up quite a truck ton of damage in this video. Now, I'm sure there are ways to more optimally set him up. I'm just kind of doing something off the top of my head. I figured, let's try. I know, like, having Vice is really good, right? But I figured for this setup, because I'm in the Bahamut fight, I gotta have force charging. So I can't just do like Vice and like another off turn. Like I gotta have a way to force charge here. So I figured I wanted to try it with Fujin, because I know this boss can be launched. And I know Fujin adds a ton of damage on the launching. And then Aerith is good here still because I'm getting all of my force charging. But then Aerith does do an off turn attack every few attacks. So I'm still getting off turn. I'm getting the really insane launch bonus. From Fujin. So I figured let's give this setup a try and see what we can do at Kadaj. Now the thing you have to remember here when we're looking at his damage, right? We know that Astos is like anywhere from 800k to 1 million, but he's like on kind of a different level, right? But these other damage dealers I've done, you know, they've been in the like 500 million plus range, right? Whereas Astos is like 800 million, I might have said 800,000, 800 million to 1 billion is where like Astos is, right? But these other damage dealers are doing like a lot of AoE attacks in this fight. They're hitting anywhere from, 5 to 600 million damage. So what we want to keep in mind when we look at Kadaj here, Kadaj does have a little AoE in his kit, but a lot of his damage comes from the follow-ups, which is primarily single target. So what we have to look at when we're looking at kind of the final burst phase number here is we have to keep in mind that he's doing this number that you're going to see in a little bit primarily with a lot of that damage coming single target. So the fact that we're on this Bahamut fight, having the 3 enemies, we're getting a little extra damage from the AoE, but a lot of what he's doing is coming single target, which is kind of crazy to think in this video, right? And Kadaj, once again, forgot to mention on his character guide, but he does work very well. You know, I kind of featured him primarily as a DPS, which we are doing here. But you can just have him as a slot 3 off turn and then just abuse his 6 HP dump off turn with other characters. That definitely can work too. But right now, I mean, other than Astos, I don't know that there's another DPS that is going to outdamage him. I suppose, like, if we did a team that was Fujin, Aranea, Kadaj, that would be a good instance of, like, Kadaj could actually be, like, on the side as your third character. But with Kadaj's BT effect up, Aranea would be doing, and we'd probably operate under Fujin's force time, right? Under Fujin's force, Aranea would be doing all the insane launch damage. With the extra follow-up she does, which really helps Fujin's effects. But then we would also have the Kadaj 6 HP dump follow-ups. I think that could be a part of maybe like what Aranea would make her look her best. But otherwise, there isn't really a lot out there that's going to outdamage Kadaj outside of Astos. His damage is really top tier. It is very, especially for single target. Now, if you're talking like a 3-target fight, like if there's a legitimate like modern 3-target fight, like yeah, there are some AoE damage dealers that can maybe push the envelope there. You know, you've got your Stragos, right? You've got your twins. Characters like that can maybe do a little bit better there, but for the most part, Kadaj is putting in some big work here. And, you know, with this fight, we know we have to go very quick because we're in danger of like killing the boss. And the 2 risks we have are killing the boss too soon. And the other one is when you get down to there, I believe it's the 19% threshold, his orb will go to 1 turn. So I have had runs kind of get killed where I put him at that threshold accidentally right before his turn, and then he takes a turn and auto kills me. So 2 things you have to watch out for. But this was my first attempt, and we got a pretty clean damage test here. We even do have the, I don't know if I already put it on. I think I might have already put it on. But we even have a Seymour Call giving us a little bit extra HP damage there as well. So we have a lot of good things going for us here, which is good. Now, I suppose with Kadaj, something I could have done a little bit better was maybe have like a Kate Sith call on, or maybe even a General Leo call, something else to give us a little bit more damage out of him. But I would say for, once again, we'll call this a Joe damage test because I don't have as much time as like some of the other players who really research the game hard and like really optimize. So I know that you guys go into my channel kind of understanding that, right? This is me just playing the game, understanding it the way I do. I know that anytime I do stuff with characters, just assume there's ways to make them even better. But this is just me, like off the top of my head, right? And I'm like, I just thought, let's try this Fujin setup and just see how we do. And I feel like we did really well here with this. And Aerith is just always such a good go-to because She can force charge really fast, which is very helpful in this fight because you need to ramp quick because you don't have time in this fight to sit and like echo with everybody. Like he's going to die instantly, right? So that's one of the things here. And once again, this is just, I feel like the most consistent 3-target fight where I can set this up, and it just happens to be an older fight, right? There's another fight where you're fighting like a giant Jekt, but he has like way too many mechanics, and it's just way too easy to get thrown off in that fight. So to me, this is just the easiest one I can do it. So just know if there were, say, like a very modern 3-target fight with a lot more HP and you could really take your time to do more setup, you can definitely get more damage out of these characters for sure. And with a character like Kadaj, who's primarily doing single target anyways, I probably would be fine just going into a normal 2-target fight and doing this type of setup. And we're probably going to put up a similar, if not better number than we see in this video, right? But to be consistent with my other damage tests, I'm kind of just doing the same thing. So here's a scary part, right? We put on, or sorry, it's the 29% threshold. You see it has 1 turn, but this worked out perfect. Now, Fujin here, we have to Brave Attack because we're at risk of like actually killing Bahamut here like any second. So we just Brave Attack because we still get a decent little gain there. And then we get the follow-up. And we make sure we attack the ads, right? Because that follow-up would have like one-shot Bahamut. Now we're ready to go into Kadaj Burst. We're entering at 626. So a couple of factors to keep in mind here. With other characters, I've entered Force Time at a higher percentage. So he's kind of going in at a little bit lower than what some of my other characters have gone in on. And that's because I really wanted to bring Fujin. Now, if I had done Rosa Aerith and just I could ramp a lot faster, I could have got him there. But I really wanted to try the Fujin strat. So we will get to max gauge. And you see right there, that's what? 52 million? Plus 14? Like, that was already over 60 million. And that was at like 600 something percent. That's pretty crazy, right? Not to mention, depending on the attack, right? Like, some of these attacks will... See, like, this one's AoE. So we're getting decent damage on the ads here on the side. And then this is all the single target stuff in the Fujin launch. I mean, we're getting a bulk of the damage here single target. All right, so what do we got on this one? So 48 million there. And then, yeah, 14 mil on the sides. Plus, remember, to that 48 million, we add this on, which is another 16. So that was basically, what, like a 66 million shot about? 65 maybe, and then that didn't include what was on the ads. I mean, that attack alone was like 100 million damage in that range, like pretty close to it. That was like 90 something million on that last turn. So this is like very Astos like numbers that we're getting. Like I feel like Kadaj is the closest thing we've had to Astos since Astos for sure. Like that's why I do feel like Kadaj is the second best damage dealer in the game. If you're talking straight on turn damage, I've talked about this before. Characters like Kelgar and Cater, I think per turn can compete with these guys. It just depends on how aggressive the enemies are. If you've got 3 enemies that are jump cutting turns and being super aggressive, like off turn can out damage these guys. But for straight on turn damage, this is pretty top tier. There's 50 mil, 12 on the sides. Once again, we have to add this to it. So that was about 70 mil. Yeah, with 12 mil on the sides, that was about 100 mil again. I would say 94, 95 million. And we're just doing this with like every button press at this point. That's a lot of damage. So yeah, my boy Kadaj is not to be underestimated, right? Like his damage is insane. Once again, not a must-have, especially if you already have Astos. Other damage dealers are fine. I think the damage is replaceable, but he is crazy, and the debuffs are crazy. 61 with 23 on the sides. And then 61 plus 18. That was 80 mil plus 20. That was like 120 million damage. 120 million. And once again, the only time I've seen something like that is Astos. So, yeah, Kadaj is putting up the numbers. He is putting up the fat numbers. Like, dude, if you did this setup on, like, a single target fight, you would just destroy it so fast. So 60 with 30 on the sides. Plus, once again, we add this on. That was 62. Oh, no, his BT ran out. So, had his BT still been up there, there would have been, like, another, I don't know, 20 mil added onto that. Just crazy. That one would have been, like, 130 million damage if his BT effect was still up. And then we still have that. And there we go. 572 million damage. And once again, the reason why that's impressive, he almost did 600 million, but it was primarily single target. Like, we did get a decent little bit of chunk damage on the sides, but you guys saw between Fujin's launch mechanic and his follow-ups, a lot of that was single target, dude. 600 mil almost is an absolutely insane damage test. So let me know what you think of this monster. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.